Time. Time and temperature are the only two variables that accompany us from crop to cup. It took me 2 years of living between origin and this stage to study these concepts and bring you the best flavor experience today. See, the coffee grower measures time and temperature during fermentation and the drying stage. The roaster then measures the relationship between time and temperature in the roasting curve. And finally, the barista measures time and temperature in the preparation of their coffee. So today, I'm going to show you how time and temperature is not only vital in all these processes, but in your flavor experience. Today, I'm using two coffees. I'm using a blend of 80% of a Gesha and 20% of a Sidra. Both of my coffees are from the south of Colombia. My Gesha is from Micava Farms, and my Sidra is from Granja El Paraíso 92. I'm going to pull these shots, and I'll be right back with you. So when I put your espressos down, I want you to please just evaluate my crema and wait for further instruction. I'm going to pass by with lids, and I'm going to cover your espressos, and I'm going to create a special microclimate. And this is going to protect delicate florals, flavor notes, as well as flavors that might go away without over-oxidizing our coffee and allowing it to cool down. See, I started with the portafilters out of the espresso machine. Here, I created a microclimate protecting these delicate florals. It slowed down my extraction, and it's going to give you a tactile experience. Please write down that it's silky, medium in weight, and medium in length. Think of whole milk. Now, the two coffees I mentioned shared a pair of unique variables. The first one is that they were fermented in bioreactors. And bioreactors is a fancy word used for vessels to create an important environment to transform enzymes and cells. So I made you each a bioreactor, and they're filled with real coffee cherries on your table. We're going to use them as a reference, but also to prime your favorite experience. See, both my coffees were put into these containers, full cherry intact, just like you see in front of you. And because of this step, you're going to taste black cherry and tangerine. Now, the second variable while sourcing these coffees that they shared was that these farms had an overcast of clouds. This sealed cup complexity enhanced my sweetness and also extended our drying time in these farms for 20 days at a constant temperature of 75 degrees Fahrenheit. And here we have a new floral and flavor note of magnolia. Next, with this information, the roaster decided to roast this Gesha, at an inland temperature of 385 degrees with a total development time of 11 minutes. The Sidra was then roasted at 395 degrees Fahrenheit inlet with a total roast time of 11 minutes and a half. And here we developed new flavors of chocolate-covered raisin and simple syrup. Judges, no BS. I traveled all of Colombia this year looking for these coffees for your flavor experience today. I took my team on a journey and we cut coffees from all over Colombia. And I decided to do an 80-20 blend because I got to send my coffees to a lab that tests on flavor potentials and chemical compounds found in coffee before roasted. Please look at the charts in front of you and I'll walk you through them. In the bar graph, that orange graph is the Gesha. And the Sidra is the pink. You can see that the organic acids and polysugars, I took them all from that gesha. And then my sidra was filled with diterpene, lipids, and proteins. I highlighted this with a designated color. The lipids and the proteins are that 20% that I needed for this body experience. And then the diterpene is responsible for the flavors that are fruity, as well as malt-like flavors. That's where we get our chocolate-covered cherry. Raisin, by the way, chocolate-covered raisin. Now I pull all the shots for our espressos, but now I want to stop this moment in time. I want to ask you to please use these shelves to please put your score sheets, and you're going to grab these bioreactors and take a couple smells. This will give you an experience and prime you for this flavor experience of what I get to experience at Origin. So please use these shelves. Take a couple smells from the bioreactor. I'm going to take the lids and stir 3 times, and then feel free to enjoy. And remember, because of these bioreactors, you have those flavors of black cherry and tangerine. That because of that drying process, we sealed cup complexity sweetness, and it gave us that floral of magnolia and flavor. That during roasting, we developed that new note of chocolate-covered raisin and simple syrup. And because of the way I decided to extract this coffee, you're going to have that tactile experience that's going to be silky, medium in weight like whole milk, and medium in length. Enjoy. All right, ready for our next course, our milk course. I'm using the inverse blend, using 80% of the sidra and 20% of that gesha. The reason is because if you look at that flavor potential below, it's very high on bitterness, and I'm using milk that is very, very sweet. I'll explain that in a second, but this helped me create a harmonious balance between milk and espresso. But now, to enhance this flavor experience, you're going to evaluate on your first sip through these straws. You're going to grab the straws, you're going to whip in this motion 15 times, and on the first sip, insert and enjoy. Then, on your second sip, it's going to be from the rim. Feel free to please put the straws back on the napkins. Please write down that you're going to have flavor notes of cacao-covered chocolate truffle. Cowtails. If you've never had a cowtail, it's a chewy caramel candy that surrounds a cylinder of cream. And finally, my favorite, passion fruit cream. I was able to achieve these flavors by using 1 part whole milk and 1 part milk that went through a freeze drying technique. Freeze drying is simply applying milk. It's freezing milk and applying heat to milk while under a vacuum. Here you go, enjoy. This helped me protect the proteins and lipids in that milk and not lose any of that flavor. So again, you're gonna whip 15 times, evaluate from the straw on that first sip. Put the straws down on the napkins, and then from the rim, evaluate the next. Through the straw, we get to play with time and temperature. You get those sweeter notes of that chocolate truffle. And then from the rim, you're gonna find the fruitier notes. Take you through that sidra. There you go. Here you go, enjoy. Thank you. And last but not least, for you, enjoy. There you go.
Round of applause for those milk beverages.
Alrighty, judges, for our grand finale, our signature beverage. In these spheres, I have spheres that I made from coffee blossoms from the cedra and the gesha. I made a concentrate over 10 minutes using 25 grams of cedra and the flowers, blossoms. At 205 Fahrenheit, over 10 minutes, I made a concentrate. And using these spheres, I froze them over 3 days. This is going to give us a new flavor note in your signature beverage of lime sherbet. But these spheres are also going to play with time and temperature. And as you can see, they've been diluting in here. As they've been diluting, they're going to help us open up the flavors, cool it down, and give us a transformative experience. And I'll explain in a second why. Remember those clouds that I talked about in Colombia? Well, I thought of what if you could actually taste those clouds. So I did exactly that. Here, these are the clouds of Colombia using 45 grams of egg whites, and over 2 minutes, I whipped them with this blender. It's gonna give us a creamy texture and help me blend all my flavors together. Here, I'm slightly heating up panela sugar. See, panela sugar is very common in Colombia, and this beverage is actually served where my coffees are from, in the south of Colombia, around Cauca. We call it ponche. I'm using 25 grams. Gonna help us add sweetness and balance to our beverage. Now, we use 2 coffees. So to represent my cedra, I treated each ingredient like my beverage, like each ingredient like my coffee. The cedra, I used peaches, because peaches gave me that body and the fruit from the cedra. So I didn't mention how they were fermented, but my cedra was fermented just like I treated this peach for 7 days at a constant temperature of 65 degrees Fahrenheit. And I'm gonna be using 1 ounce. It's gonna give us a new flavor note, please write down, of mango. Now, I treated the next ingredient representing the florals from the gesha. I use oleosaccharum made by peeling lemons and adding sugar and allowing them to ferment like my coffee did for 5 days at 50 degrees Fahrenheit. This is gonna give us a new flavor note of blood orange. Now I'm gonna blend all my flavors together and I'm gonna explain how you're gonna enjoy this and finish out those flavor calls. Sorry, I'm just so excited to be here with you guys. We're doing great on this time. So I added my espressos that were on this tin, and now I'm gonna blend all these flavors together. But you guys are gonna help me finish out the job. So you're gonna see how I pour over these spheres. When I call time, you're gonna enjoy. And just like earlier today that I stopped the time, I'm gonna stop the time one more time, and you're gonna enjoy my beverage. On your first sip, you're gonna find lime sherbet and blood orange. On your second sip, you're gonna find the flavor of mango. And you're gonna find green apple. And finally, my favorite flavor note that is transformative because of these coffees is hops. So watch as I pour over these spheres. And I just want to say thank you right now for this transformative experience through time and temperature and sharing my origin experiences with you. And finally, you get to taste the Colombian clouds that we come up here on the stage and always talk about. Remember to enjoy when I call time. There you go for you. And for you. And for you. You're going to swirl, count to 20 seconds, and help me transform that experience from you guys when I call time. One more time. Time.
Big ups!
Got it, baby.
Juan Diaz, KWC, Miami, Florida.